Pops up. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Women on the Rise. Tonight, we are joined by my girl, Steph. She is a mom and a business owner, and she is here to share her story with us. So, Steph, please take it away.
You got it. So I got my start. I've been in real estate probably since I was 19 years old when I bought my first house. I know that's super young for most people. And it was really, at that time, it's funny. I didn't think it was scary, but I look at it now, my daughter's 19 and I'm like, holy shit, I did that at her age. So looking back at it, obviously, I was like, that's a pretty ambitious thing to do at that age. And I loved being a homeowner at a young age. I thought I learned a lot about responsibility, about having a home, about the maintenance that goes along with a home. We were in that house for 3 years and sold it and made an incredible profit. Like it was right before the housing debacle in the early 2000s. So I made, I think, $80,000.
Nice.
House. So like for me, that was my initial like, real estate's like, that's a really great wealth building tool. Sat on that for a few years, bought my second house. Unfortunately, got divorced, so I didn't get to go into like what I've been wanting to do, which was rental homes and doing all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was in school for nursing, and then I met my husband, and we were doing he'd already started a franchise business. I was about a year old when I met him. Worked in that from 2005 till 2016, I believe, is when we sold that business. And it was big. So when I first got into it, we had 2 offices and it was like 25 employees, and we grew that to 16 offices and 350 employees. So it was just like a huge explosive in a very short period of time.
Wow, that is impressive.
It is. And it was the best learning of my entire life. There's no school, no person, no book I've read that can teach me what I learned about people and business and communication and perseverance and all the things that I learned in that period of time. It was life-changing experience for sure. In the middle of that, in about 2011, I believe, bought a second business, franchising also. That was home healthcare, and then went into salon suites, eyelash extension studios, and the last one was a medical, not medical weight loss, but something along those lines, right? Mm-hmm. Developed all of those into pretty good size companies, and they weren't the same though. They were more hands off and semi-absentee kind of businesses versus the first franchise was a tax company, and it was highly operational and very, very hands-on, which is why we ended up selling it, because we moved to a different area, and it was just one of those things where we couldn't effectively run and manage that business. So
just for those who might not know, when you say franchising, you mean, for instance, you bought a Papa John's and you started that business and you ran that brick and mortar business.
Yeah. So franchising works, you like buy a territory. So the first brand we had was Liberty Tax Service. So we bought like this geographical area, which is how most franchises work. You buy like a territory and you have so many licenses, or in that case, it was like storefronts that we opened up in that area. So we had 16 total at like our peak, right? And it was a pretty big geographical area, like massive area, 500,000 people between all of the area. So
wow, okay.
Yeah, that's how franchising works. They kind of break the U.S. into like little grids and maps, and it's usually based off population by how many licenses go in each area. Just
gotcha.
For clarification. So we did that. We had that, sold that in 2015. Had 26 sold in 2015. Ran it till 2016. And then we were in Orange County, California, and had salon studio suites there, and built out 15 of those, which was probably the most fun business, because I mean, it was glamorous and fun, and
right.
It was real estate, because literally salon suites is property management. You're not really in the hair business. You're just kind of renting out spaces for the stylists. But
right.
I learned a lot about that industry, which I think is a blast. I mean, most of the people are incredibly artistic and a lot of fun. I mean, if you have a hairdresser, they can talk. They're super personable.
Yep. Our therapists.
Yes. Oh my God, they are for sure. Which is actually why salon suites are so popular, or gaining so much popularity, because it gives the stylist the ability to have like their own space and not hear all the the rest of the drama that exists in the salon.
You mean when women get together, there's drama?
Oh my God. Yeah, talking about managing people and drama, the tech business is predominantly female employees. So
Interesting.
that's where I like really learned how to manage personalities and people and conflict resolutions and managing difficult personalities. And like I'm telling you, invaluable.
Nothing like being in the middle of it and having to like, wow, I better figure this out.
Yeah, and thank God, like I'm really good under pressure. Like the more pressure I have, like the smoother I operate for some reason. So being able to put out personnel fires was it was
That's
kind
a
of my
gift.
it was for sure. Where my ex-husband would be like, "What in the hell is wrong with these people?" Like, I got it. It's okay. I'll be totally calm. I'll cry afterwards, but I'm gonna be like,
exactly.
put on my game face. So unfortunately, he and I didn't work out. So I'm divorced twice. It happens probably more often than I ever really realized. That's a whole other hurdle I had to overcome, was the stigma of that. Since then, I went into real estate full time because I've always liked it. In addition to the franchises, I got to backtrack a little bit. He and I owned rental properties too. We had single family homes and had a property management company, about 13 homes. We had sold a couple and started getting into the vacation rental market, which is so much fun. I actually really like that, and I will get into it again in the next couple of years. But so that was, I always had that in the back, like always doing some type of real estate work, always rehabbing a house, always flipping a house, always like all these things, right? So I'm just going to be doing that. That's my career now, my full-time thing.
Are you going to have your own HGTV show?
Oh, you know what? I would love that.
I'm here for it.
I like all things that are like home construction, design, the whole process of transforming someone's space into something freaking beautiful is just a blast for me.
Are you like me and you cry every time you see it? Their dream kitchen comes to life.
Oh yeah, the people's reaction. Come on, like that's the best part.
I'm such a softie when it happens. I'm like,
yes.
duh.
It's so beautiful. Look at how great their kitchen is. Yeah, totally.
I love it.
I don't know if I could be on HGTV. My language would probably not fly on a wholesome family.
Be the first. Be the first to have that kind of show.
They're gonna have to bleep out every other word. Now, what in the?
Be like, this is the first late night show we have.
That'd be perfect. That'd be a good pick. So I'm just gonna do that full time now. I relocated from. I was in San Diego, like I've told you that before. I was in California my entire life, and then 2020 hit, and the whole world got really weird, and everything in California just stopped. And I mean, I've had like this internal need or calling to get away from where I like grew up. Like in order to like continue to transform and evolve and grow, I knew I needed to get out of my comfort zone. And my comfort zone was right where all of my friends and my family and everything I knew was all in that area, right? I'm like, well, I'm not going to actually make leaps and bounds that I know I need to make, because I know, who do I have to become to have this life that I keep dreaming about? And I know that girl needed to go through some serious shit and grow. And I was like, all right, me and my daughters are packing up. I have 2 teenage daughters. Like, we're literally moving from California to Florida. So we did. I sold pretty much everything we owned, took our clothes and the few things that would fit in our car, and we took off in July of 2020 and went all the way across. Took us like a week. We had fun, just kind of drove around the lower half of the country, visited some family in Tennessee, and then ended up in Clearwater Beach, Florida. And it was
gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, can't. Ocean is unreal there. I remember that, like, one of the first nights we were there, we went and watched the sunset, and we're in the water while the sun is literally going down, and the water is like 92 degrees. I'm like, I would have never been able to do this in San Diego. The water's so cold. Like,
absolutely not.
There's no way. So I was just like extremely, like, the amount of gratitude I felt at that period of time was just unreal. And just knowing like, holy cow, I did that. Most people won't even leave their state. And I was like, I literally just walked away from my entire life to start over.
There's something so freeing and so damn inspirational about that. Like, when people are like, I could never, I've done it once myself. I actually moved to San Diego with a military guy back in the day. And it was so freeing. It was like, nobody knows me. I can be who I want to be. I can be who I need to be.
Correct.
And then that didn't work out. Shocking.
Yeah.
And here I am back in the Midwest. And now we're trying to get back out there. But it's just something so freeing about setting yourself apart from everyone that knows a certain version of you to become that next version. I love that about you.
Well, I think the hardest thing I ran into in the process of evolving and growing is it makes people very uncomfortable when I started to change, because they know that version of me, right? They know this. I used to be, I've kind of always been an outspoken person, but in my previous marriage, it was a very toxic, unhealthy relationship. So I was very suppressed. So they're used to this muted. I used to call myself a Stepford wife because I swear to God, that's what I was. Like, you act this way, you dress this way, you do this, you do this. You don't cuss in public, you don't say these things, don't post that on Facebook. But like, it was this whole, which if you know me now, you're like, you were in a relationship and controlled like that? And I was like, I know. Tell me about it.
You and me both, sister.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's just, I look back and I feel like it's a completely different lifetime and a new feeling how I felt then, and watching everybody's reaction to me trying to grow and change. I was like, this is not going to work. So moving was my best bet.
And the only two that mattered were your two daughters looking up to you saying, wow, my mom did that. I can do that.
Yeah. Now my oldest daughter, she's a sophomore in college now, and she's going to be going abroad for 3 months next spring. And I'm just like, yes,
so absolutely.
That. Yeah. I'll have fun. I mean, providing the world's not freaking out over some other random whatever, but
we've got like 3 more till then.
Yeah, I know, right? So I'm excited for her to do that. And it's really cool to like know that even as like, she's pretty quiet and introverted, but she's watched me just go, like, just do it. I'm like, I've been telling them you live one time. Last 2 years, it's like, you guys, we live one time. If we're not like running towards these goals and dreams we have, like, we're on fire, we're freaking missing out big time. And I hope that they take that with them into their adult life.
And it sucks when it takes something tragic to push us, but typically that's how it works. We're like, okay, fine, I'm fed up, or oh shit, and we can go through.
Well, apparently I didn't learn the lesson the first time I was married to just do my own thing. So here you go. Here's another one for you. Like,
you just get a little extra push.
Exactly. Like, it gives us the same lesson until we freaking figure it out. So I'm at the point where I figured it out. So I've been able to grow and change. So I was in Florida till December. So exactly a year ago, I moved from Florida to Texas. So for 2 reasons. One, my daughters they loved the beach, but Florida is hot all the time. And they're like,
and the humidity is something.
It is. I don't mind it, but they were like, they weren't feeling it. They didn't like the city. I had 5 states that I was looking at leaving California. So it was Idaho, Utah, Texas, Arizona, Florida. Those were that was 5 of them, right?
I think so.
Those were my places. And my top 3 was Utah, Texas, or Florida. I was like, I really love these places. And I kind of knew people. I only knew one person in Florida. I actually don't know anybody in Texas. I have a bunch of friends in Salt Lake City, but I wasn't feeling that. I was like, I don't know. I think we should just get as far away as humanly possible from the West Coast. Let's go all the way. So we started there.
Right.
And they, when we talked about it, I met my boyfriend, Steve, which I'm sure you've seen him on my social media. Other people can probably go and snoop and find me or whatever. We met randomly on Instagram. I got featured in someone's story wearing like their hat from their apparel company. And he happened to be following that page and saw me and started following me. And then we started talking. And turns out he's not originally from Texas, but that's where he was at, right? So things just started to happen. I go where I'm led. And that's kind of my thing the last couple of years. Okay, I'm being led in this direction. I'm just going to go ahead and trust and follow. My girls weren't liking Florida. I'd met him. He's got younger kids. I'm clearly more mobile and can kind of go wherever. And he's not just some random guy. Backtracking just a minute. In 2020, the beginning of 2020, January, I was laying in bed, feeling very sorry for myself. My divorce was final, I think, in September of 2019. I had to have a hysterectomy in December of 2019. And it didn't really go, it was not a smooth operation. I had all kinds of allergic reactions and healing was really hard for me. So January, New Year's Day, I'm laying in bed and crying because I'm all alone, like having one of those moments, right? Like, oh, I'm single again, whatever. We've all been there.
We've all been there.
And I was like, obviously, the choices I'm making in life partners is not what I need because it's not working out. I clearly need to become something different because what I'm attracting is not what I need. So I sat there and I wrote 2 pages worth of who I needed in a partner. Like, what are their qualities? What do they like, dislikes? What's their personality like? What do they look like? Like everything. And I just kind of folded it up and put it in my drawer, right? Well, he messages me on Instagram randomly, and I look at his picture, and I was all interesting. Everything like the dark beard, the dark hair, like all these things. And then we started to like just like casually chat back and forth. And then all of a sudden he's like, "Can we FaceTime?" I think he's like, "I really needed to know you were real." Like he's like, "You were really easy to talk to, and you actually have conversations." And most chicks he had met online because he'd been in the like dating apps and all the other crap. He's like, they just can't carry a conversation, and you actually can carry a conversation. I was like, yeah, I don't care. We can FaceTime, which I had never freaking done before, so I was terrified. So we talk, and the very next day, he's like, I bought a plane ticket. I want to come meet you. I was like, okay. And the second I saw him, I was like, son of a bitch. I wrote about you. I knew I wrote about you. So when we met, it was an instant connection. And like, I feel like we've known each other in a previous lifetime. Like our souls just click. And then a couple months later, he met my daughters, and we all just we just click. We just really, and my girls aren't young. I mean, the other one's, she's 19 and the other one's 15. So their opinion is wildly important.
Right.
And their intuition is spot on. So if they didn't like him, all right, well, that's that. You know what I mean?
Right.
We absolutely adored him and still do. So things started to kind of play out, and they weren't really liking the Clearwater Beach area. So in December 2020, we moved to Dallas, Texas, and that's where we're at now. So I've been here almost exactly a year. It was like the week before Christmas we moved here.
Oh, wow. Yep. Celebrating an anniversary.
Yeah. So it's almost exactly a year. I was working on my real estate license in Florida. So I just stopped that and started doing my Texas, because Texas has the strictest and most like ridiculous education restrictions for real estate in the country. So I got it done kind of in record time. And that's what I've been doing since.
So is Dallas where you think you're going to build your empire?
For sure. Yeah. I just got onto a team. It's just fascinating the way it all works out. People that are just completely aligned with the same type of beliefs and drive, and very business oriented, which I've been looking for, which is kind of hard to find in the real estate industry. A lot of people are in it. There's a lot of realtors. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of mediocre people. And I wasn't looking for mediocre because I don't operate that way. I was looking for like the people. And it took me until now to find those people, but I finally found them. And I start with them in another couple of weeks. So I'm pretty damn excited.
That's awesome. That's so awesome that you said mediocre. I've been on this kick lately. Maybe you've seen in my stories of like, we're not meant to live mediocre lives. Like at some point we have to say, why am I still here? Or why am I still surrounded by these people? Or why, like, okay, life is not okay. Like you should want the best life, and you should be willing to go after it despite what those others are saying and trying to hold you here because it's comfortable for them. And like you said, we can outgrow people. I think I just posted a Mel Robbins saying like, don't feel bad for outgrowing those who had the chance to grow with you. Absolutely. And it took 36 years to learn that lesson. Like, sorry, you had the chance. Like, see. So I love that you said that. It's such an important lesson. So for the ladies out there, whether they want to start a business in some way, or they're in that relationship where they're feeling controlled and like, there's got to be more, I want to do something, like, what is your advice to make that all work?
Be still. Listen to, like, our intuition knows exactly what we need to do if we shut up long enough to listen to it. And
sometimes I know that's a problem.
I am the queen of talking myself out of things because of fear or what someone's going to say or whatever the hell it might be, whatever the excuse is that our head tries to tell us, right? Our mind tries to protect us from things that might harm us, not realizing that making a move to a new city isn't going to kill us. Like
Right.
we have to like think ourselves out of the fear of just doing what we know we need to do. Like I said, you live one time. And if you're stuck in a crappy relationship or if you have toxic family, like I mean I had to leave behind a whole lot of people
Yeah.
to get where I'm at now. And I mean I'm right in the middle of the transformational journey. Like I'm right in the middle of it. I haven't gotten to the place where I want to be yet.
Yep.
I'm not sure I'll ever like arrive. I have goals, right? And goalposts. But you have to be willing to just trust yourself, which can be really hard to do if you've picked bad partners or if you've picked a bad business deal or you do these things that you consider a failure. It's really hard to stop and trust yourself to make the right decision, but we know what we need to do.
Yep. So what do you do then when things get hard? I mean, 2020 wasn't easy for anybody, but when things get hard and you're like, holy shit, how do I keep going? Is this even the right path? Like, I think I want this. How do you keep pushing through and going toward whatever that is when something seems to be pushing back at you?
It's supposed to push back at you. I think when you're on the right path, all of the things that you think, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Hold on. I know I read something that was like, oh my God, that's exactly what it is not that long ago. It's kind of like when you're on the right path and you're doing the right thing and you're going the way that you know your soul needs to go, right? And you're fulfilling what you need to fulfill. You're going to meet a bunch of resistance because it's that whole, the old you is dying off. Well, the old you would be attached to all these things. So you have to be like, okay, I'm not attached to this anymore. So you got to just push it away and let it go. It's going to happen. The crap is going to come to you. You're going to get more resistance. And unfortunately, from the people closest to you, usually, because like I said, it makes them uncomfortable when you grow, or they're genuinely concerned. They're like that. What is that? You're a Badass by Jen Sincero, that book.
Yes.
She describes that as like the overprotective Italian mom. Just doesn't want you to do anything or go anywhere. That's how the people in your life are going to be when you want to break free from who you've been and what you've been doing your whole life, especially when it comes to starting a business or changing your career or leaving people like a toxic relationship or cutting out toxic family members. Like you're going to get so much flack for that because as society we believe a certain way and you're going to go against the whole grain.
Yep.
You're supposed to.
You're
and
supposed
if you're being like something about what I'm saying or what you say clicks with people and they're like, listen to that because that's your intuition telling you go that way, explore this, do this.
Yep.
And
the universe will test us to see if the life we say we want is what we really want.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. And scooting back to Jen Sincero, everybody stop what you're doing, go download the book, listen to it. I could not read it. Could not read it to save my life. I had a copy. Could not read it. Couldn't get into it. I was like, who is this chick? But the minute I listened to it, I've now listened to every one of her books and I crave them. I love hearing the artistry behind what the words are because it actually makes it hit home. But also I think that first time I tried to read it, it wasn't what I needed at the time.
Exactly.
Yep. But this past year, it is exactly what I needed to be like, I am a freaking badass. And yes, I will go for this. So, it's just so weird how that I was in such a bad place when I tried to listen to it. I didn't have that confidence or that like belief. And then somehow it's kind of developed and she was just like, hit it home. And I'm like, yes, Jen.
It's fantastic. I usually get like the actual book and the audio book.
Yes.
Depending on, I have ADD. So depending on where my head's at any given day, audio sometimes is better for me than reading or vice versa. So
yep, I would even listen to it like on walks at the park. Like I was that into it. I was like, okay, I can't work out without music, but I'm going to because this is shit I need to hear. And it's like lighting my soul on fire.
Walk and listen to books. It's a good way to listen.
Yeah. So where can people find you? Are you online somewhere where people can follow you and connect with you if they have questions about franchising, getting out of that shitty relationship, finally doing real estate in Texas, and they just want to be your friend?
Not perfect. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. It's Stephanie Michelle is what I have it under.
Stephanie Michelle.
Yeah. And I think you tagged me in your story so they can see that too. I also have my real estate page is stephaniemichellerealestate.com.
Realestate.com.
All spelled like traditionally. There's no weird.
Coming from California, that's weird.
I know. I don't know. And my poor daughter is Michelle, but I spelled it Mishel. She's all.
She's like, Mom.
I wanted you to be unique.
That's fantastic.
That was funny.
Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing your story. We're going to tell these awesome people good night, and then we can chat after this. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and join us next time for another Women on the Rise episode.